Sync.
That was perfect. Okay.
Perfect. Terrific.
Awesome.
Cool.
Great.
All right.
Okay.
Oh shit! Hang on, I need to say nothing. Oh, bollock. All right. Okay. Right. We already fucked this up. All right. Okay. Okay. Great. All right.
Yeah, okay.
This episode of Happy Go Lucky is sponsored by Ary Halo's love for Bakugo. Is it Bakugo? Bakugo? Bakugo. Bakugo from My Hero Academia. Her love for him is explosive.
Wait.
Happy Go. What?
No, can we clarify that there are two Arys and it's not me?
Well, that's why I said Ary Halo.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, but I mean, okay, that's fine.
You're Ariana, not Ary Halo.
Yeah, I know. But anyone, I mean...
There's
okay,
no other way. There's no other way to, like...
No, I know, but I just mean that at this point it's okay, because no one but our friends are going to be listening to this.
Yeah, which is fine. Unless this kicks off, then people will be like, oh my god, who the hell is this Ary Halo? We've got to find out who she is. Wow. And then it becomes like a big fandom thing. But anyway, this episode is sponsored by Ary Halo's love for Bakugo. He is explosive, and so is her love for him. And now on to the episode.
Okay.
Happy go lucky anime. Na. I fucked that up as well because it's not even called Happy Go Lucky Anime.
No, it's not.
It's already an absolute shit show. What's even the point? It's awful. Oh, hello, Ary.
Hey, Maxy.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I've got a Yorkie bar. I've got a cup of tea because after today's events, I've got a lot of tea that I need to drink through.
Yes, I saw. You have like 600?
I've got 600 Yorkshire tea bags. I greatly underestimated the size of the bag, and I thought, perfect, I can use that for my desk at work. And when I got the big Amazon box, I was like, good God, this is a big bag for just a, bunch of tea bags. Opened up the box. Oh shit, was literally my words when I saw the bag, and it is gargantuan, like absolutely huge. My mum looked at the bag and she was like, what on earth did you do that for? I was like, I genuinely thought this bag was going to be far smaller than I originally thought. But it's doesn't diminish on the quality. Speaking of quality, anime.
Right.
That differs in quality from awful to excellent.
It certainly does.
I'm the king. I'm the king of segues. In that situation. So, what have we got planned for this episode, the second episode of Happy Go Anime, Ary?
We're talking about seasonal anime.
We are talking about seasonal anime.
You're only watching 2.
I am only watching 2 because... So it started off good. It started off with me watching 4, and then I just lost any form of commitment to 2 of those animes after episode 1. But the animes that I am watching, I am very committed to. And you're watching how many?
I'm, kind of watching 5. Wait, is that right? Oh my god, I didn't write. Okay, no, 6. I'm kind of watching 6. But I'm behind with most of them. I can still, Steins Gate 0, it doesn't matter that I'm too far behind with, because there's enough of it that I can talk about it. And then the other ones...
I'm so bad with Steins Gate.
I've really enjoyed it. Anyway, we'll get to Steins Gate later. We'll start with the ones that we've both watched. So... Okay. Hiraraka and Hanebare.
Yes.
I don't actually know if I am up to date with Hanebare. What episode comes out tomorrow of Hanebare?
8. I believe it's episode 8.
Okay, I might be 1 episode behind with Hanebare. Maybe.
It's really good. It is... That's a good anime. But we'll get to that one later because we're going to give probably the biggest chunk to My Hero Academia because I feel like that we both have the most to say about that anime.
Yeah, and we've also had the most of it aired. Yeah. There's tons more to work with, which is good.
Isn't it 68 episodes or 67 episodes? It's definitely in the 60s now, isn't it?
I
think.
don't know. I don't think it's that far.
Let me quickly check
I mean,
Crunchyroll because
because it'll be.
I could be talking about my arsehole.
It's 20. The first season was like 12, and the second season was like 24. So it's like 36.
I beg your pardon.
And then
56.
Yeah.
The latest episode was 56. So I am 10 anime episodes. I'm a whole 10 anime in front of My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Because I can't ever say the Japanese version. So it actually throws me off when people say Boku no Hero, because I'm just like, wait, what? Oh, that's right. Yeah, that anime that I really, really, really like. I'm terrible for not knowing the Japanese name. But yeah, this anime is great. It's definitely that anime that's come out in like the last. It came out last year, didn't it? Did it start last year?
I think it started like 2016 was the first season, possibly.
It's definitely kicked up like a massive storm though in like since season 2. At least that's when I noticed it really starting to kick off.
Well, I heard lots of good things about it when it first started airing, but I just didn't pick it up because I'm bad at watching anime, and I was just like, maybe sometime. And like everyone was talking about it, and everyone was big on it and stuff. And then the second season rolled around, and I didn't watch that either. But then after a while, Ayu and I were just like, let's just watch it. And so we just watched it all together. And now here we are, all caught up. And
here we are.
Really, really good.
So I heard about it actually on a whim because I was really bored one day. And I was like, I want some new manga to read. So I was looking at all these different like blogs and everything about like what's good manga to read that's recently come out. And there was a blog that came out that said there's this new manga that's publicized in Shonen Jump, and it's called My Hero Academia. And I think at this point it was only about like 9 chapters in, something like that. So I thought I'd pick it up, start reading it. So I started reading it, and I've kind of stuck with it ever since, like the manga as well. And it's like shortly after reading it, I knew it was going to be popular enough to get an anime. I didn't think it was going to be what it is today, because it's really difficult to tell what's going to be popular and what isn't. But yeah, so I've kind of followed it from the get-go. I wouldn't say I'm like a super religious hardcore fan. I wouldn't say I'm a part of the fandom realistically. I read the manga, I watch the anime, I appreciate it, have my thoughts on it, but yeah, it's really, really, really good, and it ticks a lot of boxes for me.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've gone on record, and possibly this is not true, but I've so far gone on record to say that I think it is potentially the best shonen anime since Hunter x Hunter. So since
and that's quite a big claim.
It is. The problem is, in that period, JoJo has aired, and I'm like, JoJo's probably better than Hero.
But how much do you reckon of, and this might be a bit of a controversial thing to say, but how much do you think that might be because JoJo can be overhyped?
Yeah, that might be part of it, because I flipping love JoJo.
Part 5, the anime, could be shit.
I've not read the manga beyond part. I've not read any of the manga essentially. I mean, I've started reading part 5 because I was like, I need more, and I don't know when part 5 is going to come out. But I'm really, really bad at reading manga online. I mean, if they're like official English releases of the manga were up to date and were actually releasing more than still stuck in part 3, I would definitely have started buying them and be reading those, but they're not, so I'm not.
Yeah.
But I would very much... I'd really like to read the manga, but I'm just really bad at reading stuff online, so I don't know anything about what happens beyond part 4. I'm really excited.
I am excited, like, a lot, because I feel like this feels like almost we're completely getting off topic actually about JoJo, so just very quickly, I am looking forward to it because I like this set of characters. as protagonists more than I do any other part. So that's just my little thing to say about JoJo. But my hero, talking about a nice collection of characters in a cast, again, king of segues, that class, is it 1A?
Yeah.
It's 1A, yeah, 1A, class 1A, apart from that
Minasa.
spongy grape guy, yeah, him, because I'm also really bad at names, as this is also well documented, I think it's, like, you can't not like at least, like, 3 or 4 of that class.
Yeah.
Because they all feel, I feel like they all kind of fit into, like, an archetype and a stereotype for shonen character classroom sort of stuff, particularly with, like, the whole thing that they've got powers and everything. Like, you've got the aggressive one, and who is Ary's boyfriend Bakugo. You've got the very smart, by the book class president, who is, I can't remember the names.
Ida.
He's the really speedy one. You've got the, oh Christ, like the keeps to himself emo guy, who's the guy with the bird head.
Tokoyami?
Yeah. You've also got the cool guy who's Todoroki, who's just cool and easily the most cosplayed person I saw at Comic-Con when I last recently went. Like, so many red and white wigs. But also as well, like, a lot of their powers are quite unique as well, I feel.
They are.
So
I definitely agree there.
so like you've got your very standard ones, in the sense you've got a person who can control fire and he can control ice. Okay, controlling fire and ice, controlling an element, not very creative. We've got someone who can control electricity. Okay, cool power, not very creative. You've got the main character Deku, who's just super strong, but that's, again, not very creative. You've got super speed, again, not very creative. But then you've got, like, the earphone Jack, who has powers from her earlobes, which are earphones. You've got hardening, that's not very creative. You've got, is it Suyu, who's a frog.
She's just a frog.
She's literally just a frog, who I guess you could say is kind of like a rip-off of Toad from X-Men, but that's,
I don't know much about X-Men.
There is a guy called Toad, and he is a frog.
Isn't he a toad?
Or a toad.
Yeah.
Well, that's the curveball there. That's what they want you to think. Well, I mean...
Is that like the big plot twist?
Well, I mean, what a shit comic series if it's like, oh my god, Toad's actually a frog. Marvel announced a new film featuring this in-depth plotline. You've also got the guy who's got, like, his individual, who talks via his, like, stretching body limbs as well.
Oh yeah. I can't remember his name, but he's got.
He is forgettable. Yeah. You've got the guy who shoots tape from his elbows.
Yeah, the tape guy. Is he just
He's
called
cool.
Seto?
I think so.
He is as well.
Yeah. The bird guy's shadow being, like, a monster which sometimes he can't control, I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You've also got the character, I mean, he's probably not meant to be really liked, but the guy who shoots a laser beam out of his belly button. He's just a bit, I mean,
weird. I'm not
he's
sure.
a gag character as
He
well
is.
as Grape Head, but like, a lot of joke characters just don't really do it for me. Like,
Yeah, I know
the
what you
only
mean.
joke character who's really done anything for me in an anime is the Kill la Kill. We spoke about her last week.
Mako.
Yes.
Mako.
Yes, her. She's great, and just I want to say wacky adventures, but actually a lot of the time they're not really wacky adventures. They're actually quite scary, intimidating fights. Like, the stuff they get up to is really cool, and it's always exciting to see the main characters in this classroom, like, overcome these individual fights and battles. Like, I love seeing Deku grow as a character, and I love the fact that his origin story is that he's quirkless, but he was given the power of all for one, because even as someone by this society that's been built up in this world as kind of a bit worthless because he hasn't got any powers, like, he's like, well, you've gone above and beyond what other people who have got powers wouldn't do. So you deserve to be, you know, a hero. And that's like, it just makes you really root for him because you can't get much more of an underdog than someone who is literally powerless.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think Deku's a really, really strong lead character, to be honest.
Big time.
It's just very, very easy to like support
Yeah.
him and cheer for him. In like any situation that he's in, he's just immensely likable, which
Yeah.
is good. Which is always good with a shonen protagonist.
Hmm. I always get a lot of like between Deku and Bakugo. Like I know this comparison has been made by many people before, but I get in some ways like a lot of like a Goku and Vegeta vibe from both of them. Because like Deku, because he wants to just protect everyone, and he wants to save anyone, similar to how Goku does in some form of like way, and Bakugo because he is, you know, he is. I mean, he's got a far stronger comparison to Vegeta than I think
Yeah,
Deku does to Goku because he was the top tier going into that class. Then all of a sudden, someone who frankly he looked down upon for ages has got these amazing powers and he's overshadowing him. And now there are moments where he feels like, no, hang on, that's bullshit. I'm better than him. This isn't fair. Why doesn't All Might look at me? Like the comparisons between him and Vegeta, who, you know, constantly feels who is constantly in Goku's shadow, even though he's the principal Saiyans. That's like that brings back a nostalgic appeal to me. Partly because Vegeta's my favorite character, so by
yeah,
default, Bakugo should be mine.
yeah. I if Ari listens to this, she's gonna hate me, but I don't know how I feel about Bakugo.
Oh man, are you going to be like Ace and you just hate him?
No, I don't hate him, and I'm very glad to have seen some of the character growth from him lately. The latest episode, particularly, was like really, really good for that, where he just had that moment where it felt like he gave Deku the first bit of kind of proper respect he's ever given him. He still gives it to him in a backhanded way because it's Bakugo, but there is very clear growth and development there that it's way easier to appreciate it because of just how much of an arse he has been for so long, that when he does anything that's even remotely not arse-like, it's very much like
it's a big deal.
Yes. Which is good, and I like that. So I don't dislike Bakugo, but at the same time I'm not crazy about him because he has just been an arse for like 2.5 seasons mostly.
It's one of those things where like I hear a lot of people actually kind of conflicted about like the three main lead. I guess like the big three in Class A are Bakugo, Deku, and like they are the big three, and it's like particularly with like Todoroki, like you get a major like for the longest time he's just like he's the cool, quiet, like popular kid in the class who, you know, he's the best at everything. Everyone respects him because he's, you know, he's just a cool guy. He's supportive of his team as well. He's just, you know, he's just cool. He's just that staple cool guy. But then his major development comes from the amazing tournament arc where he fights Deku, where, you know, he actually uses his flames and like he comes to terms where, you know, even though the whole backstory behind him and his father, all that stuff, like he's still like that's a nice bit of growth for him.
Yeah.
But then you don't really see a lot of growth for a while. And I'm talking a bit of manga spoilers in that regard because you don't actually see that much growth for him. He's kind of just there, still acting cool. So I feel as of right now a bit kind of stale on Todoroki. I still think that Bakugo's like biggest development where I was just like, okay, there's way more to this guy than I originally imagined. Is when he gets, and again, spoiler warners. But by the way, everyone, I know we're like probably 15 minutes into the podcast now, but like big spoiler warning as always. But when he gets kidnapped, and Deku's reaching out to him, and he says, "Don't come after me," it's like that's major because that shows not only does he care about him, he knows that he knows Deku so well that he knows he's going to try and come after him, and he's like, "Don't be an idiot. Stay where you are and let the pros handle this, and that's major. Like particularly like it's a panel in the manga because of course I saw that first in the manga.
Yeah.
And it's just the panel of just his eye closed down, and just that line saying "Don't come, Deku," which in some context, and depending what type of My Hero Academia fiction you're reading, that's got a completely different context.
Lewd.
Incredibly
Oh my God.
lewd. And
Why
you know
did
it's
you-
real. That's the point. You know that exists. Like, you know that exists.
I've never wanted to know that exists.
Well, where
But
even
now I
you
do.
didn't want to know it exists, all the 4 people listening to this podcast as well know that now that exists.
Yeah.
And I hope, and
somebody's
you know,
definitely done that.
don't Google it because they're kids.
No.
That's gross.
Oh
I'm not
my
trying
God.
to say anyone should look at it. Don't look at it. Please don't look at it. Oh God, don't look at it. Jesus Christ. It's almost as bad as like the God of War porn that the Pokemon fandom made.
Please don't. God of War is my
It's
favorite
weird,
Pokemon.
isn't it? It's just
I love
bonkers.
her. Please don't. Just don't.
I
hate
bring
it.
it back.
I hate it so much that I feel ashamed and embarrassed that God of War is my favorite Pokemon because of that stuff. And it's like, it just bugs me.
Yeah, they're.
I just worry that
Bit-
people will judge
they're-
me for it.
Nah, well, I mean, if you say you like God of War, then put in like an asterisk, but nothing to do with the porn, I'm sure people will understand.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, okay, fine, yeah, cool.
I just
get
had a really great God of War in X and Y, and just she was like the staple of my team.
Did you make her a Volva?
Yeah. Of course.
Hell yeah. Where she got herself just basically like a big ass skirt.
Yeah.
That's basically made of God of
She's
War.
the only Pokemon I've ever legitimately leveled to level 100, because I'm usually
Wow.
lazy with Pokemon. Anyways, this is vastly off track. My favourite characters from Hero Aka are Tsuyu and Momo. I love them.
Everyone loves Momo.
Everyone should love
loves
Momo. Momo is so great. I'm so glad that she got this episode. This like most recent episode, not the most recent one, the one before the most recent one.
The filler episode, yes, that's right.
It's
the
not
one
a
that wasn't
filler
in
episode.
the-
We had this discussion. It's not filler.
It's not in the manga.
Yeah, it's not in the manga, but it's not filler.
So it's just kind of sad though that like this episode, which she really shines in, isn't like wasn't done by the official author.
Yeah, that makes me sad. It makes me very, very sad that, because okay, by my reckoning, I'm gonna say this, I don't care. By my reckoning, up to this point, this is the only time where one of the female characters has overcome a serious thing completely on her own merit, essentially. Every other time, they've either been saved by one of the boys, or like the thing they've overcome hasn't been serious. Like in the tournament arc, the only characters that any girls defeated were joke characters. And then as soon as they fought the serious characters, the girls did a collective 0 damage to them. Which none of them have been able to do anything. None of them have had their moment to shine. And we're 2.5 series in now, and finally one of the female characters gets a proper chance to really shine. And it's anime exclusive. It didn't happen in the manga. And that just makes me sad. Makes me really, really sad.
It's a bit of like a sad male fantasy in some ways, really, isn't it? Like, because I would love there to be like more, like
More mama. I just want more
Just-
mama.
like you've got such a great selection of female characters.
Yeah.
Like, why underutilize them? Like, you've got 3 great characters with Deku, Todoroki, and Bakugo. Like it, and all the other male guys as well. But like, just let the girls have their chance, you know. Like,
Yeah. Definitely. And
So it's probably going to disappoint you because I think coming up in the manga, I don't really remember that many. If like there might be a couple, but I don't really remember that many big moments for the females either. There is a really cool female character coming up though in like one of the later arcs who I think is bloody awesome, and I really like her.
I'm
But
looking
even then,
forward
she
to it.
doesn't really get like a major moment. And that is a comic because coming up to this episode, I did a bit of research into the My Hero fandom, which was basically like diving into a live volcano. To be honest, like I always get a bit nervous diving into a fandom, and to be honest, this one is it's all right. You yeah. There's a lot of shipping in this fandom, Mary.
Yeah, I
I
can definitely
it
imagine.
it's like open up one door and it's straight shipping, or I open up another door and it's gay shipping. And I personally find shipping to be incredibly annoying, but that's just my personal taste. I just don't. I get why it's a thing. I just find it to be really irritating. But then to actually find like people's genuine opinions on how the anime and how like these famous like the tournament like arc, so the famous arcs like the tournament arc, and how that all that has been going down, it's still been overwhelmingly positive. People have got really good. Like, I love how passionate people are about their favorite characters, even if they are characters that are not exactly major. So the female character who is the inventor, I honestly forget her name, but she's got really cool eyes because they kind of look like targets or something.
Yeah.
Like her, like I think she's the bee's knees. But like you see some people who are like super passionate about someone like her, and she's only been in like what, like 6 episodes,
Mm.
something like that. Like, I really do admire how this collection of characters, and all of them really cool, like even characters from other classes who are barely in there, and even the
Yeah,
villains.
I
God, we
really
haven't
like
even touched on the villains.
I really like the girl with the big hands.
Yes,
She's
yes, yeah.
really cool. I absolutely love her. I also really like oh god, what's her name? You know, the in the latest arc, the female teacher that's been with
Oh yeah, yeah,
Aizawa.
yeah. She's really cool.
She's
She seems quite tomboyish.
I
She's cool.
absolutely love her. She's so much fun so far. I've really enjoyed her. So I hope she sticks around for a while.
So I was just taking a sip of my tea. You might have heard a big gulp there.
No, didn't come through. Don't worry.
How about we turn to the villains?
Villains? Which ones specifically? Because we've had quite a few.
Well, which ones particular? So it's pretty obvious to see, like, you know, the opposite to the classroom little gang of villains.
Yeah.
So the League of Villains, I think they're called.
Yeah.
But that group of, like, how many of them are there? There's like,
I don't know how many there are anymore. There's the main villain guy who I've forgotten his name because can also
the
be
handsy
bad.
guy.
Yeah, him. I
You've
should
got the
definitely know
schoolgirl
his name.
who has got a habit of stabbing people.
Yeah,
And she's in love with Deku, isn't she? She's obsessed with him.
She's like
You've got
both. She's got a bit of a like I don't know. She's got a bit of a crazy streak and maybe some sort of haemophilia, possibly. I can't tell what's with her blood thing because I assume it's linked to her powers, but I have no idea what her powers are. But she also just seems to like blood. Then you've got the
Dabby.
Yeah, Dabby. I quite like Dabby, to be honest.
He's cool.
He's got
There's
a really
fan
cool
theory that was seen as well that he might be related to Bakugo.
No, Todoroki.
Oh, beg your pardon. Yeah, that's it. Sorry. Yeah, I got them mixed up. Yeah, you can see that as like a potential fan theory thing. I mean,
I like him. He's got a lot of presence when he's around. Like he feels threatening and imposing, which is good in a villain, obviously. Then there's the like portal man.
Bartender. Yeah, the bartender.
I can't remember what his name is. He's okay.
He's just a bartender whose only power is just portals.
Yeah.
But that arc where they go to rescue Bakugo and you see all those individual villains. In fact, actually, the kidnapping of Bakugo as well. Like, I know a lot of those villains were defeated and then not really seen of again. But they were just really cool. And I love the whole idea of like that they're now rising up because All Might is now gone. And it's like, okay, for the longest time you put us down, but now we can finally fight back, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's it's good to see it as if the villains fighting back kind of story instead of the heroes pointing back.
Yeah.
Point of view, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that arc though, when they finally save Bakugo, and it's the fight between All Might and One for All.
Yeah.
It's just, is it One for All for One? I think it's All for One actually.
Yeah, it's All for One.
Yeah, and it's just that final shot where he uses United States of Smash. I'm just like, oh my god.
Those 3 or so episodes, where having that one as the third, were so good. Oh my god, that fight
was a great way to end a season. It was a great way to end a season.
But it was
it's
halfway
such
through
a
a
good
season.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's halfway through season 3.
I thought it was halfway through season 2, or towards the end of season 2, and then they had the
No,
break, and then season 3 started.
No, season 2 was it ended with Deku and Bakugo having to team up against All Might for their thing.
Oh god, I'm getting the seasons mixed up. Oh, I'm so terrible. God, if like a random person wants to listen to this podcast and be like, okay, I'll listen to their opinions, they're going to be like, this person's an absolute tool and an idiot. I'm so sorry, randomer. Please don't hate me. Please don't find where I live.
I think you're safe. Don't worry.
Hope so. Internet's a scary place.
It can be. But yeah, the All Might versus All for One fight was stunning. Up until that point, right, my favourite fight in the series had still been All Might versus the Nomu from season 1.
Yeah.
Because I felt like it meant so much in terms of seeing for the first time firsthand who and what All Might really was. Because we'd heard a ton about him and we'd seen him, and we'd gotten to know him a bit, but we hadn't seen him in the same way as the class has seen him. We see him kind of we see him in the way that the class sees him, having seen his exploits before, but we've not seen his exploits, so we're not quite on the same page. We just know the respect they have for him. And even they haven't been there firsthand to see just what he can do. And so both from our perspective being like, okay, this is what All Might is. This is why he is All Might. And then also having Deku and Bakugo and Todoroki and people there to see it firsthand right in front of him, and then just being blown away by okay, this is what we're supposed to be striving for. It kind of puts everything into perspective, and I really, really like that. And it's just a fantastic fight, and You Say Run is an amazing, amazing song. It's so good. And then even with the great fights later on, nothing really topped it for me until All Might versus All for One, which was just astounding. It was such a good fight. Oh my god. So powerful.
I want more of those fights.
I do as well. I really do as well.
God, it's just the bee's knees.
Yeah. But we're not going
to
to
get bee's knees as well. That seems to be my new word.
I mean, it's not a bad word.
I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. So My Hero Academia, we like it and we want more of it. And I will say, there's a few things that like with most adaptations, that there's a few things they've changed from the manga to the anime, and I know you, outside of the podcast, have said this many a time, and I completely agree with you. I do not like how they have sexualized the girls, of all ages, and it's particularly creepy when particularly like I'm in my mid to late 20s, and these girls are like how old? Like 16, 17, 18? Is it like around that age?
I would guess that they're 16 from
And
being
it's like,
first years in high school.
and you see them a lot in like the cheerleader outfits, in the swimsuits. The fact that Momo's outfit, I'm fairly sure, has been edited to look more sexy than in the manga. I think that's a thing, isn't it?
I don't know what she looks like in the manga, or at least I don't know
Right.
what her outfit looks like in the manga.
I might have to quickly look this up because I could have just said complete fake news. My hero.
I'm gonna say something probably weird and unpopular.
Go for it.
Age doesn't bother me in anime.
Really?
It just doesn't.
Okay. Completely tell a lie. Her manga outfit looks the exact same as it is in the anime. I'm completely mistaken by that. Whoopsie doodle.
It just doesn't bother me. It's like it's not. It just doesn't bother me. I don't care, to be honest.
I don't know.
It bugs me
It
from
does to me more
a
than you.
storytelling standpoint because it feels like it undermines their. It feels like it undermines them as characters, and that's what really frustrates me. It really, really just. It feels like it's in many ways it's written out of character for them with stuff like the cheerleading outfits. Like it doesn't feel like they would realistically all get dressed up in cheerleader outfits because Mineta asked them to, or whatever their conceit was. It just doesn't feel like something they would do.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine really any of them being actually okay with it if they were actually asked. But because it all happened off screen, we don't question it. And it really bugs me that they're basically undermining who these characters are for the sake of fan service. That's the aspect that really bugs me about it. And then it also bugs me because it just feels out of place a lot of the time. It has this weird double standards where every time Mineta wants to see them in compromising positions, so the time he tries to peek on them in the changing rooms, the time he tries to climb the wall to peek over the wall thing when they're all in the baths together, and the time when he wants to see them all in swimsuits at the beginning of the third season.
Yeah.
All three of those times, Mineta is punished for being lecherous. He gets poked in the eye for the first one. He gets pushed off the thing in the second one. Well, I mean, technically the second one happens third, but it doesn't matter. In the second example I gave, he gets pushed off the thing by the kid, and in the third one, I mean, he doesn't get punished for that, but they're not in those they're in like normal. They're in much more conservative swimsuits. But also in all three of those cases, we as viewers are still shown them in those compromising positions. We see them in the changing room from the camera just pans to their changing room and we see them all half naked. In the baths, we see them all in the baths completely naked, and in the swimsuit, we see the image of them pop up in Mineta's imagination of them all in the swimsuits, and it's like it's weird double standards about how it's like, oh, we know it's not really okay if you want to, be pervy on girls because, that's human beings that shouldn't just be pervy on for no reason. But at the same time, we're going to let you anyway. So it's really annoying. I just don't like the way any of it is handled at all. It would be so much better with none of it in there. It just bugs me. It just really, really bugs me.
Yeah.
So that's the aspect of it that really gets to me. So yeah.
I mean, these are the complaints, and like we do. well, with every anime, we are going to have a complaint, so we are going to have our thoughts about it. And that with My Hero, the negatives are greatly outweighed by the positives. Like most of the negative complaints I have about the manga and the anime, they've not been really resolved yet, and I don't think they will be resolved. And also, as well, my negative complaints about them, I actually don't want to. I haven't made up my mind on them yet. I feel like my biggest worry for the series as a whole is in the manga, is that I don't like where this current arc is going, and I won't say necessarily what they are because I know you haven't caught up, but it feels like it's taken quite a bit of a dip compared to how the other arcs have been. With the anime, there have been a handful of filler episodes. I know you don't like to think the last episode 55 was a filler.
No,
but
there definitely
I
have
kinda
been filler episodes though. At least as far as I can tell, the first episode of season 3, which was the
that was filler.
Yeah, that was filler.
Yeah.
It didn't add anything. It was
That
mostly
was
just
filler.
recap.
I feel like I'm getting a tad impatient though, because I kind of want to get to the arc where I enjoyed the most in the manga, and I think it's either after this little like thing that's happening at the moment in the anime, like this whole, is it like another tournament arc or is it like an exam arc? I don't
It's
actually
like an
remember.
exam arc.
Yeah, so I think it's after this exam arc we start moving into it. When a character gets introduced, that's when I can say, yes, good, we are getting involved in this. But overall, if I could give the manga a score, I think the manga's a good solid 7.5, 8 out of 10. And the anime, I feel like my whole enjoyment out of it, I feel like it is probably a very similar score. I'd probably give that a 7 out of 10. Because even though it is very good and it scratches that generic shonen anime itch, I still just see it as just a generic shonen anime, and it does a lot of things well, but I don't think it does anything revolutionary, and it doesn't do anything that necessarily pushes the genre forward, at least in my eyes. And it probably has individual aspects that perhaps you can see as different or a bit groundbreaking, but I personally don't see that. But I like it overall. Gonna carry on sticking with it for the foreseeable future, and I hope you do as well.
Yeah, I definitely will. I'm more than happy to keep going with it. I've really, really enjoyed it. I think I've got the first season at an 8 out of 10, and the second season at a 9 out of 10. This season is probably going the same way. The second half so far has been weaker than the first, but the first half of this season was so good that I'm more than happy to. It feels like it's still earning its 9 out of 10 from me.
The name United States of Smash earned it a point. Because that's a great name for an attack.
It's a fantastic name for an attack.
It's just typical. I think it's like the irony is not lost on me that characters with Superman level of strength have got their attacks named after American cities or American states. I think that's definitely not lost on me. I think that's quite funny. So I'm going to quickly talk about Hanabado because you've got a bit more anime to talk about than me. But that anime, this season has been a lot of scratching itches for me because I loved Haikyuu. I fucking loved Haikyuu. That anime, was like a big bonding experience for me and my girlfriend because she is a sucker for the whole boys doing sports genre.
Yeah.
She is an absolute sucker for it. She loves it in every way, and normally it doesn't really grab me in. I've watched the first season of three with her, and I thought that was good, but I haven't watched anything else afterwards. Before I got together with her, I watched all of Prince of Tennis, and I love the Prince of Tennis because that is a great sports anime. But Haikyuu is just it's so good. Like you end up caring for the whole team, and you just want them to do their absolute best. And Hanabado is a bit different because it is for those of you who do not know, it is a badminton sports anime featuring a girls' team. And of course, it's badminton, so it's primarily one-on-one. There's been a couple of episodes where it's been doubles, but it's mainly been one-on-one.
Yeah.
And this anime, it doesn't... You don't end up caring for these characters as much as the Haikyuu boys, but I didn't think you would from the start. It seems to focus less on the actual sport of badminton, unlike Haikyuu, which actually has got a few moments where you actually learn a bit about volleyball, and you end up actually thinking to yourself, yeah, when the Olympics comes up, I'm going to see that spike. I'm going to see that return, and I'm going to understand what they're doing. And when something happens, I'm going to say, nice receive, just like they do in the anime. But Hanabado seems to be a lot more character-driven.
Yeah.
And the two central characters are the tomboyish girl, whose name again I forget.
Nagisa?
Yes, thank you. Who tries her absolute hardest to be good at badminton because she wants to be good at badminton, and she's not naturally talented. Like, she's good, but she is not what you would call naturally blessed. So she does nothing but work and work and work and work and work and work and work, which gives you, an idea to root for her because she keeps trying.
Yeah.
She's also at the start of the series a bit of a bitch by being quite potentially borderline abusive to her teammates to the point where they actually quit because she's training too hard. But then enter the adorable little badminton player who turns out to be like a god at badminton, and she's so good that her eyes go all possessive, and she looks like Gon does in Hunter x Hunter when he's going to kill the cat insect. God, her name.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers, by the way.
Sudden Hunter spoilers. What?
Yeah, yeah. So, you know what I mean, because you've evidently seen her, get all,
Yeah.
in the game. But, I mean, I really like the character design when she looks like that.
I do as well. I kind of
but
find myself hoping that she'll do that occasionally.
yeah.
It's just like,
Well, then,
I want to see
in the
her
next,
go all out kind of thing.
in episode 7, she's basically pretty much always looks like that. It's actually a bit weird as well because she has a regular conversation with other people, and yet her eyes still look like that she's about to snap someone's neck. It's a bit weird. It's like, oh, thanks for that. And it's like, oh my god, she said thank you, but I know she wants to punch him in the dick. It's just, it's intimidatingly cool. And it has got an exceptionally good OP.
It does. Oh my god, that OP.
It's
That OP is really, really good.
It's beautiful to look at. The song works as well. It is a bit shit that it repeats the animation in an opening. Like, that's a bit like, okay, you're literally got like a minute 30 and you are repeating animation. Cool. I don't really see...
The thing is, I don't mind it because it looks so damn good that I'm quite happy to see it a second time.
Yeah. The whole anime looks good.
It
like,
does.
The whole anime looks like, even when the characters are just stationary, the art style and the artwork and like they just stand out. It's a very high level of detail that I really hope that in the next few years most animes, if not all of them, are also this same level of detail, because the badminton animation, particularly in episode 1, you are introduced to a terrific sequence of direction and animation of them playing badminton, and you can feel every shot, like the effort being put into it. You can tell the amount of work that's gone into it is great, and I was slightly worried that that wasn't going to hold up throughout the rest of the season, but so far it has. And I am very interested to see how it's going to go throughout the rest of it, particularly with the main character, who is the younger little tsundere girl, and because her backstory is actually quite an interesting one, and quite a sad one actually, and actually in real life it's actually a bit morbid and a bit sick because spoilers, her mum walked out because she didn't think her daughter was going to be any good at badminton. So she went to go find someone else, another young girl to teach badminton to. How fucked up is that?
Yeah.
Like, if you heard about that in real life, like, if the mum came up to you and said, yeah, I thought she was shit at badminton, so I left her and I found someone else, you'd be like, you're a twat. You fucking bastard. What the fuck? Like, your daughter has now got not a mum because you think she's shit at a sport. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
She deserves it.
I'm
Social services would tear her apart. Carry on.
I'm not sure if or how they plan to be able to make her redeemable. I mean, at the end of episode 6, where I'm up to, it like ends with her mum arriving to watch her, as far as I can tell. Because it set it up as though the girl that she's teaching at the moment is like, she'll be arriving any minute now, kind of thing. And then it cuts to her, so you expect her to be arriving, but it turns out she's arriving at the place where where Iono is. And she asks after Iono. Of course, I've not seen episode 7, so I don't know how that pans out. It might pan out badly. It might pan out well. I do not know. Maybe it doesn't pan out at all. Maybe we don't see anything else from it. I have no idea. But I don't know how they plan to actually. If they plan, they may not. She might just be a terrible person. But I don't know if they don't want to make her a terrible person, how on earth they can really make her redeemable after abandoning her daughter for however long this has been now. It must have been years at this point.
Yeah, like I mean, she looked like she was like 4 or 5 in the anime for when her mum walked out.
Quite possibly. I don't know. But it's clearly been a long time. And it's very much like... I mean, I could see them going the... I couldn't even see them saying, oh, I went off to train someone else because I knew that if I was training someone else, it'd encourage you to get better, and I did this for you in a long, weird, far-fetched kind of way. I couldn't even see them doing that. I don't know how they will be able, if they want to. I mean, if they don't want to, if they want to make their character, her mum, a terrible person, then that's fine. They're doing that pretty well. But if at some point she's supposed to be redeemable in some way, I have no idea how they're going to do that. Because her actions have been pretty irredeemable so far.
Like, I think it's difficult to write a parent who's walked away from their... Because it doesn't even look like the dad's around. So as far as I'm aware, it was just her and her mum. So she left her with her grandparents. It's like, for badminton. Like, Ary, I really like video games. If I ever have kids, and if my son or daughter is shit at video games, I'm not going to leave them. Like, like, I get it's just an anime, it's just a story. But, like, in the meeting, when they were sitting around, they said, well, how can we, like, we got to think of a reason for her mum to leave. What could it be? Her daughter's shit at badminton and she hates her for it. Brilliant. Go with it. It makes sense. Because that's a horrible thing.
It is a horrible thing.
It's like...
I mean, I think that is supposed to be a part of her mum's character, that she's, like, this obsessed with badminton, that...
But she's your kid!
Yeah. I'm not saying...
I'm looking at this way too realistically. But it's like, also as well, it's like...
Well, I think...
In an episode where they find out about this happening, and the grandparents say, yeah, she just up and left. And it's like, you don't just say, yeah, she just up and left. You say, bitch! She fucked off! We raised her better than to walk out on a kid over badminton.
Yeah.
It bothers me way more than it should. Because it's just an anime. Realistically, it's actually a minor point that is just not like whatever, like just whatever. But like, I hope there is a line in that anime where it says, "You left your daughter because you didn't think she was good at badminton." You crazy?
Yeah, I do think that I feel as though her actions in the anime are supposed to be as essentially outrageous as they would be in real life. I do believe that it is supposed to be the case that, you know, these aren't supposed to be like, oh, it's just anime, so it makes sense kind of thing. I feel as though even the fact that it's had this much of a profound effect on Ayano, where she just goes into this weird emotional, well, no, not emotional, emotionless state. That it's clearly messed the kid up, and I think we're supposed to be very much on board with the fact that this is not acceptable, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I do think they are kind of aware of it, of how ridiculous the actions of her mother actually are.
Yeah. So I really like it overall. Like I am really, really, really liking it. It has managed to hold my attention throughout this series. I've seen a complaint which I saw while, looking up general impressions of the anime, just so I can get a feel of how other people think about it and see how my responses measure up to those feelings, see if I have any similar feelings to, people who are watching this anime. And I saw a comment which was like, it's a bit strange how sometimes like the character over a sport or over like a minor thing react in some ways. So, for example, episode 1, where she sees, her rival who hasn't seen for ages, who completely destroyed her, it's like she's just seen her family's murderer, sort of thing. You can also even describe that the girl's emotionless state while playing badminton can be a bit OTT, but that's a minor complaint. Everyone else seemed to be giving it just quite high praise, which is quite well deserved, I think.
I
I
think
think when we checked it, it was like number 7 on any chart in terms of popularity.
it was something like
Something
that.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's just kind of like a quirk of anime and particularly of drama series.
Yeah.
That it's just kind of gonna be like that. I don't think that, like, I think that's fine. That kind of thing doesn't bother me. And equally, people have different priorities and things, and what one person might write off as that wouldn't really affect me might have deep trauma for another person. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That kind of thing doesn't bother me.
The whole thing's good though. So yeah, Hanabado.
Yes.
Watch it. It is girls doing sport good.
Yeah.
And the other 2 anime that I briefly watched, I've watched the first 2 episodes of Cells at Work. It is a wholesome, happy anime. People have liked it far more than I thought they would. It's very cute, but it doesn't really hold my interest a lot more. But I know that people are consistently enjoying it, and I just wanted to watch Angels of Death just to see, is it as... I mean, on paper it just looked a bit not great, and I watched the first 2 episodes, and it's just a bit... It So it's based off a RPG Maker game, like a horror game. And I'm sure the RPG Maker version of this is very good and very effective and very cool. But as an anime, it just seems like a edgy emo goth fantasy. So I quickly dropped it, and I don't really have much else to say about it. I will be watching Furikuli. I think it's Alternative that comes out first before Progressive. I think. I could be getting that mixed up. It's actually a bit confusing. I'll be watching that when that gets released as well. But yeah, like this season overall has not got as many animes, I think, that are really getting my interest to watch as much as Spring. Like Spring was regarded to be terrific, and I watched quite a bit of Spring anime as well. But Summer, I'm quite happy to just have these 2 animes to do me over. Particularly after like a long day of work, I don't have to worry about catching up on about 7 anime. So far so good. But you've well, you've already said you've got a lot more anime that you watch, so I don't know if you want to
Well, I
chat
picked
about
up a
that for a
few
bit.
more. Steins Gate Zero, I have been really, really enjoying. I absolutely like Steins Gate is one of my favorite anime and one of the best anime I've ever seen, without question, in my mind. I think I'm 2 episodes behind as of this recording, because obviously one just came out a couple of days ago or something. I've not caught up with that, and then I was an episode behind with all that. And it's been really, really good in my eyes. It's not quite been as good as the original, I think, but maybe that's unfair.
Yeah, I was thinking it will be it's a really hard act to follow with the original Steins Gate series.
Well, I'll wait until it finishes before like giving final judgment on it, because obviously, again, similar to with Steins Gate, you can't really fully judge or appreciate it until you've seen the entire thing, because it's very much everything up until the end matters. And we've not had, at least as far as I'm up to, which is like episode 16, I think I've seen, we've not had like any of the big twist or big reveal things happen. Like, there's stuff building up in the background, but we still don't know the full details of everything that's going on. So until all of it becomes very clear, it's impossible to compare, because I'm comparing a mystery that's unsolved to a mystery that's solved. So of course the unsolved mystery has left me wanting so far, because I want to see what the mystery is. But the characters are as great as ever. I know that some people have been a bit down on Okabe because he's not the same super lively, upbeat, mad scientist guy that he was in the first season. I can get how that could be jarring for some people, because he's way more... He's just not as... I mean, he's pretty sad. In general, which is understandable, I think. I think it's pretty relatable. But the series has been just an emotional roller coaster for me. It feels like, I've said it to a couple of people, but it feels like the emotional impact you will get out of a lot of the story feels, at least not all of the story, because some of the story is new events around new characters and stuff like that, but particularly a lot around the beginning, and then anything that continues from that beginning storyline, especially around Maho. Kind of the emotions you will get out of it will directly correlate to how invested you were in Kurisu as a character. And so the stronger you felt about Kurisu, the more emotional it will be. And I absolutely adore Kurisu, and it has been very, very emotional at times. At times the show just feels like it's just ripping your heart out and just stomping all over it. It's almost taunting with just how much it plays onto your feelings at times. But I'm enjoying it somehow, despite the fact that I just described it as ripping my heart out. It's really good.
I'm glad it hasn't been a car crash of a sequel, because
I am as well.
Like with how much of a pedestal the original Steins Gate is put on, and how, because it's terrific. It is such a good anime. Like, when you release a sequel, and I know the sequel was originally a visual novel as well. That was a sequel to Steins Gate. Like, it could have been a bit of a disaster, and it hasn't been, which is really good to hear. So yeah, that's really good. I have been meaning to pick it up. I think I got to episode 4 and just didn't carry on with it, which is really bad, because I really like the original Steins Gate so much.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been watching it kind of in bursts of, I'll just leave it a couple of weeks, and then suddenly I'll be like, I'm in the mood for some Steins Gate Zero, and I'll just watch whatever I haven't caught up with yet, in just one sitting. And then, so I'm not like on the edge of my seat waiting for the next episode to come out, but I'm still really, really enjoying it. Then I'm also watching Free Season 3, which I've seen the first 2 episodes of, which I'm really far behind with. There's like 5 more episodes now or something. But I enjoyed the first episodes. I'm a big Free fan. It's just a good sports anime in my eyes. I know it has all the yaoi undertones for the people that like all the yaoi, but even from not in that perspective, it's just a solid sports anime with a good likeable main cast. The animation and stuff is obviously absolutely gorgeous because it's Kyoto Animation. The music is really, really good by Kato Tatsuya, who is my favourite anime composer. I just his everything he's worked on that I've heard just works for me, and I don't imagine that he'd be the kind that a lot of people would love. But for me, he just works phenomenally. He did Food Wars, which has an incredible soundtrack. He did Samurai Girls, which is a terrible series, but was worth it just for the soundtrack. He did Ilia, Fate Clyde Prisma Ilia, which has been a mixed series, but again, what a soundtrack. Basically, I like Kato Tatsuya's music, and he does the music for free as well, and it's really, really good.
Do you know of any particular track names of any of the stuff he's done that you would recommend?
Right, from Free, I really, really like Sparks Crackled, which is a really, really cool song. I also like, I think Beautiful Swim is one of the songs, and then there's one like Rhythm of Portside Town or Rhythm of Port Town, something like that. Rhythm of Port Town is also really, really good. Then, I mean, from Samurai Girls, Arata Namasta Samurai is amazing, as is the opening song to the second season is Master Samurai Futatabi, which is also really, really... Samurai Girls has a fantastic soundtrack. Far, far better than it has any right to be.
Yeah.
Then his version of Emiya from Fate Clydeland and Prisma Ilia. Because Emiya is a great song no matter who has done it. Essentially, Emiya is one of the quintessential Fate songs, if not the quintessential Fate song. And the version from Fate Clyde is really good as well, in my opinion. It's called Shoujo Shinka.
Put that on the list.
And then Food Wars. Oh God, what is the something sweet and sour? I mean, Shokugeki Start is amazing. Is such a good song. Is so good at building hype. But then there's also Study Both Sweet and Sour. That's the one. I really, 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 really like that song. It might be my favourite from the soundtrack, even when put against Shokugeki Start. So there you go. A whole bunch of random Kato Tatsuya music for you guys to go listen to. No one will actually go listen to it, but I'm happy to recommend it because I absolutely love everything he's done.
You could have just got a bunch of people listening to his music.
Maybe.
So you never know.
Maybe. But yeah, Free 3 has been... The first 2 episodes were really good for setting things up. I'm really looking forward to seeing where the series goes. I also started Attack on Titan Season 3. I've seen the first 2 episodes of that also. I think I'm not as far behind with that because a week ago there were only 3 episodes. So maybe I'm 2 episodes behind now. It's interesting. I don't know where it's going. I will be interested to see what happens. I think after I really, really enjoyed Attack on Titan Season 1. I was very much part of the Attack on Titan hype train that followed. I mean, I didn't go cosplaying as anyone or anything, but I really enjoyed the series. I was it was very good in my eyes.
God, you couldn't go to any con without seeing,
You really couldn't. It was
like, at least
absolutely
without like
everywhere.
seeing like 10 Attack on Titan cosplayers, and then after that season ended, it kind of just disappeared.
Yeah, I think the problem was that there was too much of a gap between season 1 and season 2.
Yeah.
Because I came into season 2 with reasonably high hopes because I really enjoyed season 1, and it just didn't deliver in the same way. It was still enjoyable enough, but I felt like it didn't have the same impact as season 1 had, and maybe that's impossible to recapture that kind of impact. But it didn't have it. And then season 3, I don't really know what the storyline is at the moment. I don't really know what's going on or why it's going on or anything, but I'm happy to watch it. And I will say episode 2, the beginning of episode 2, the action scene at the beginning of that, there is this one particular clip. I mean, it's a couple of clips, but if you put it together, it's about 30 seconds of Levi.
Is he flying through the city?
Yes, it looks absolutely gorgeous. It is so good. Oh
yeah,
my
that's
god!
one they use as promo images quite a bit.
Yeah, it looks absolutely incredible. It is. I can't overstate how stunningly well animated that scene is. Yeah, it's. I mean, if the action stays as good as that, I don't even care what happens with the story. I'm quite happy to just sit and watch the spectacle because it's amazing. And then the last series that I have to talk about that I'm up to date with is Hurricane Receive, which has been I've absolutely loved it. It is a contender for my favorite of the season. If we take I mean, this cuts down what I'm watching significantly. If we take Hiraka and Steins Gate out for the moment, because I've seen a lot more of them, and they're also sequels to well-established series that I'm already a big fan of. So if we have stuff that's just been airing this season, Hurricane is contender for my favorite. I'm really enjoying it. It's I think a lot of people, when they saw it, were worried it was probably just going to be another kind of Keijo sort of thing, because it's a sports series where the girls aren't wearing much and it seems to have an ecchi tinge to it. Well, Keijo had a lot more than an ecchi tinge to it. But I assume people were worried it would go in that same sort of direction. But it really doesn't. It's not in the same ballpark as Hanebado in the way that it wants to tell its sports story, but it is also very much focused around its sport. And there are obviously some fan servicey shots here and there, because the girls are in swimsuits the entire time, but it never takes away from the rest of it never takes away from what's actually going on. I don't know, it's just really fun. The characters are immensely likable. I adore all of them. Every single one has left an incredibly good impression on me, and it's probably my favourite cast of the stuff that started this season. It is almost certainly my favourite cast of the stuff that started this season. It's got this great light-hearted tone that allows for a lot of kind of like comedic moments and a lot of levity that it delivers on really well. It's very funny. It's very cute and endearing. The characters, like relationships and friendships and stuff, are all really sweet. It definitely has Yuri undertones, which is always going to be a selling point for me. But it delivers on them really well without it being... It never feels shoved into your face. It's just... There's always the hints of Yuri there that are quite nice. And it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. It's just, yeah. I mean, I can't say enough that if you're worried about it being just like a really fan servicey series, but what otherwise may be interested in it, really give it a go. It's very cute. All the characters are really likable. The art style is really, really pretty and lends itself really well to both the slightly more serious sports scenes, but also the more comedy scenes. The music is really good by Rasmus Faber. It's just great. It's just really great. I'm getting so much more out of it than I ever thought I would.
That's really good to hear. It's nice to hear when animes are better than what they originally. It's just a classic thing of never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Because I was definitely in the crowd of people who thought this looks a bit etchy and nothing else. So hopefully that gets resolved. But yeah, that's really good to hear, and I'm glad that you're enjoying those animes that you are caught up with as well.
Yep. Yeah,
Would you say that you're enjoying this season overall?
I would, yeah, I really would. There's a couple of things that I also want to pick up. I want to pick up Asobi Asobase, which looked fun and cute and funny.
Which one's that, sorry?
Asobi Asobase. It's I've heard people say that it's similar in tone and style to Hinamatsuri from last season, 2 seasons ago. I don't remember when Hinamatsuri had. The thingy synopsis describes it as a surreal gag comedy manga. So it's just a comedy series, but it's also kind of out there and a bit weird and stuff. But the clips that I've seen of it and things look really funny, and I want to give it a go. And I also kind of wanted to pick up, oh god, what was it called? Shoujo Kageki Review Starlight, because it sounded just really weird and interesting, and I'm like, yeah, I could pick up weird and interesting.
I know what that one is. That one's a bit bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah, but a bit bonkers sounds kind of fun, so I thought I might try and pick it up.
Is there any anime that isn't a bit bonkers?
Probably.
I'm very sure every anime's done at least one thing where you're like, oh, come on, man, that's bullshit. At least I feel like that. But yeah, that's really good. I'm glad that. I'm not sure what's coming up for. Like, I know it's a bit early to come discussing the autumn season, seeing as we're only halfway. In fact, we are only about halfway through summer because all the 13, 14 episode animes are hitting episode 7, episode 8. So yeah, we are about halfway now. But yeah, I've no idea what the listing's like for autumn.
I am hyped for autumn.
JoJo's coming in autumn. That is going to be the big.
JoJo's coming. Zoku Awari Monogatari is coming, which I am super excited for, because Awari Monogatari season 2 is one of my very few 10 out of 10s. I loved it. I'm a big fan of Monogatari in general. So good.
I loved the first season, and I watched. So I have watched. So because you have to Google the order to watch this series in. I think I'm on second season. I think it is. And
yeah.
I am on episode like 14. I think. I just can't seem to move past that episode. I keep saying to myself, I'm gonna watch this. Because I love it. Every time I've watched that anime, I have loved it. There's never been a negative thing to say about it. Why can't I keep watching it? I just want to watch. I want to. I just haven't got around to doing it, and I am ashamed to do that. But yeah, that is a great series. I didn't realize there was another series coming out.
There's another series coming out.
So hopefully I eventually catch up on that.
Yeah, I hope so as well. It's really, really good. There's also Toara Majutsu no Index Season 3, which, I mean, Toara Majutsu no Index has not been relevant for so long, but I enjoyed it. You know, I don't care. I really liked Index. I never watched Railgun, which I feel got like more people excited for Railgun. I never watched Railgun, but I watched both first and second season of Index, and I really enjoyed both. I loved the cast. I loved the setting. The setting's really cool. I'm really happy there's a third season. The only thing that will be missing from it is it won't have Kaoramami OPs, and Kaoramami is just like I love her music.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore her music, and I'm really sad because she retired since season 2 came out, so it won't have OPs by her, which is really, really sad.
That is sad.
Then there is also obviously JoJo. There is also Bloom Into You, the anime for Bloom Into You. I'm really excited for. I'm hoping this is
There's an anime of Bloom Into You.
Oh yeah, there is.
Oh my god,
it's coming out. I'm so excited. I'm hoping this is the one, because I'm hoping this is the one, because Netsuzo Trap was not a good adaptation, and was also really raunchy and put everyone off. Citrus was a good adaptation for the most part, but not for some parts. It was a better adaptation than Netsuzo Trap at the very least, but it was also pretty raunchy and put some people off. Kasei-san should be really, really, really good, but it's just a short OVA. It's not a proper series. Bloom Into You, it's a really damn good anime. Shouldn't have manga. Shouldn't have anything that puts people off. It's just really, really good. Volume 4 of Bloom Into You is one of the best volumes of Yuri I have ever read. It is so amazing. And I'm so excited for the anime to come out. You don't even know how hyped I am.
I'll probably give that a shot as well.
It's really, really good. I cannot overstate how good Bloom Into You is. And then finally, Sword Art Online Season 3, which
Oh, God, really?
I need to finish Season 2. I couldn't... I got through Death Gun and just
no, you don't have to.
No,
don't
I do.
Watch that
I can't
anime.
not.
No,
I can't
you
not be
don't.
part of the
It's
conversation.
it's well, what's the conversation to be? You either get people like me who just don't like it because it's Kirito. It's just
I don't like it either,
shit.
to be honest.
Why are you watching it?
Because I enjoy not liking it.
That doesn't make any sense.
I enjoy not liking it. It's fun. It's just a series that's fun to poke fun
After
at.
the movies as well, how the hell are they gonna...
I didn't watch the movies. I'm bad at watching movies.
I didn't watch them either, but I just know that they came out.
I will finish season 2 so that I can watch season 3. I can't
believe they're doing a season 3.
Can't you? It's like the most popular anime ever. I can believe there's a season 3. I'm amazed it took them so long.
Yeah, but didn't Gun Gout be like that thing that reversed everyone's opinions on it? Because everyone's like, yeah, Sword Art Online can be good, just don't have Kirito. Surely the hate... Oh, then you're right, yeah, people do like it.
People love it. People flipping love it. I'm excited for season 3.
It's like that guy who sat opposite me on the train the way home from Con. And you know all about it, and the guy who's just like expressly giving me all his love about Sword Art Online.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, mate, just... I mean, to be fair, for the most part, it was fun until he just expressed out loud in a very packed train that he wanted to buy a Oscar body pillow. I was like, oh, Christ, I was like, oh, stop, gotta go! Bye! Nice meeting you. I was like, oh, if you want to buy a body pillow, you can, but I really think there's a time and a place to say it out loud. And I really appreciate your love for Oscar. I appreciate that you are open and honest with it, but Christ. Anyway, so I think that's us done.
Yeah,
for seasonal anime.
I think so. This is a lot longer than the last one.
This has been a lot longer. How long has my recording been going for?
Like
an hour
90
and a half,
minutes.
pretty much. Yeah.
This is over double length.
I mean, we did agree that we think each episode should be roughly about 40 minutes, and we have been greatly carried away, but hey-ho, I guess that's something that we're going to have to get used to in the future.
Yeah. Although we'll cut a bit out because of editing and things.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully this has been enjoyable for those who are listening. Again, any and all feedback is always welcome.
Of course.
We've got an email address now, don't we?
We do. What is our email address? It is I think it's happygoanimepodcast@gmail.com.
Perfect. So, if any of you do ever have any questions for myself or for Ary regarding anime or anything anime themed, please send them to happygoanimepodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And we will answer them to the best of our ability, no matter what the question is. Preferably
No-
don't send in anything lewd.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't say no matter
but-
what the question is,
yeah.
please.
Yeah, don't. As long as it's appropriate. I mean, to be fair, if the question's really inappropriate, we just won't read them out.
Yeah.
But Ary probably won't be able to read any of the lewd ones because she'll probably start talking in tongues, then go bright red in the face, and then just be like, no, we're not doing this. Although, if you've got any high school D&D
No,
questions, by all means, please send them in.
No,
I would gladly answer any of those questions.
No.
Send any questions to happygoanimepodcast@gmail.com. Particularly D&D
No.
ones. Anyway, good night, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. Goodbye, Ary.
See you
And
next week.
yeah, see you later. And keep your eyes on the anime.
Okay.
Good night, everyone.
See you. Thanks for listening. Bye.